Welcome back to the Upgraded Career Podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Case, and today I am joined by my friend Cassidy Amber Chapman, who is a holistic health expert. And today we are talking about a topic that I think sometimes we kind of gloss over whenever we're talking about achievement and productivity and just reaching our goals, is that none of that matters if we are not living a holistic, vibrant, healthy life. And so Cassidy has somehow unlocked the secret and she is going to share this with us today. I'm so excited to have you here, Cassidy.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here
Yes,
to
yes.
speak with all listeners.
Oh gosh, yes. And I'll just say, just right before we got started, Cassidy did a great intention setting ritual with her and I just to really ground ourselves and for us to make sure that we are serving your highest vibration out here today. So again, you are all in for a treat today. But first,
I'm
Cassidy,
ex-
just kind of just tell us about you and your journey and just kind of
yeah,
how you landed here today.
absolutely. Absolutely. I feel that it's really important for me to show you my vulnerability and show you all of me and show you the story from the rawest perspective. So I want to warn the listeners, this is going to be a raw experience of my story. So how did I get here? Right. Around, I want to say 11 years ago now. Oh God, it's 11 years now. I started to have mystery medical symptoms. I would gain over 50 pounds in under 3 months, eating less than 500 calories per day. I was becoming purple. I had chronic infections. I had vertigo. I was dry heaving every day. That's when you try to throw up, but you can't. I mean, the quality of my life was starting to go down the drain, and I had no energy to do anything at that point. But somehow I was still getting all A's and doing all this other stuff on the side. But in reality, I was not living a high quality of life. And in fact, it was kind of going down the drain. And I went to doctor after doctor and test after test. And they kept telling me that I was fine, that I was okay, that it was all in my head, or they were blaming it on the weight that I was gaining when
Mm,
something clearly was causing me to gain that weight, right? And after 2 years of this struggle with trying to find a doctor that would help me, I finally found a doctor who would prescribe me medication that drastically helped with the symptoms. And I'm so grateful for this doctor. I'm so grateful for this medication. However, it was suppressing the symptoms.
mm.
And I kind of knew that every time I didn't take a pill, some symptoms would come back, but I just wanted to unconsciously just keep taking them. And after 5 years of symptom suppression, I went through a health crisis. All of my symptoms came flooding back. New and worsening ones started to come. I had physical pain so painful that like knives were ripping me open from the inside out. It was it was horribly and unbearably painful. And through this unbearable physical pain, I started to have panic attacks daily because I was so afraid of the physical pain that I was in. And the panic attacks had gotten so bad that I would wake up in the middle of my sleep, in the middle of the night to have a panic attack. They would wake me out of my sleep. And I remember one night in the middle of the night, I had woken up from a panic attack and I took a pillow beside me and I started screaming into it because I was so just done with the physical pain that I was in. I had absolutely had no energy to do anything, to hang out with any of my friends, to have any type of quality of life because I was just stuck in bed in such unbearable physical pain and mental and emotional and spiritual pain at that point as well.
Yeah.
And I remember just looking up in the dark room and saying, God, please don't wake me up. I was done. I was done. Not only was this health crisis going on in my life, but I also had a life crisis at the same time. And through the unbearable physical pain, I had also ended a 15-year friendship
Mm.
that had felt like a divorce. I mean, families fighting, things being taken back. We were so codependent for so long. It felt like very jarring. Then I was also broken up by who I thought was the love of my life at the time. You know, your first love, you think is the love of your life. Yeah, we all go through
Mhm.
it. And I during this time period, I also had 4 family members die during that 1 year period. So I was very much in the depthness of pain and suffering. And it was just felt like one thing after the other. Just as, oh, this person died. Oh, I ended this friendship. Oh, now I'm going to be broken up with. Oh, now I'm still in physical pain. Oh, now this person died. It was just like one thing after the other. But gratefully, a couple things woke me up. One being that one of the family members who died, he was 32 years old. And when he was dying, he was texting me, Cassidy, I don't want to die, which was heartbreaking to hear. And I remember when he died, I felt this duty to not only live for myself, but for him and for everybody else that didn't have a chance to live. And I also had this dream. I hold dreams in high esteem. I believe they give us messages. Ladies, please listen to your dreams. They give you messages. And in this dream, I was walking on a huge lake of frozen ice. And it was it had to be the middle of the night. I looked behind me, there was miles of ice behind me. And I looked in front of me, and about a mile away was a hospital. And as soon as I saw it, I felt this deep desperation to get to that hospital. So I started to walk, I started to walk, I started to walk. As I started to walk, the ice cracked beneath me and I plunged into the water and I'm accelerating deeper and 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 deeper. And this dream was so vivid. I felt my bare feet on the ice. I felt the cold air biting my skin. I felt the rush of the cold water as I was accelerating deeper. And I remember stopping, looking up, and seeing that I was miles away from the surface. And in that moment, the dream was so real for me that I was ready to just give up, accept cold, dark death. And that was a very dark moment for me to be in. Because I was just ready to just give up. And then I looked up once again and I saw a small glimmer of light where I had fallen. You know, when you see a small glimmer of light in water? Yeah. And so I started to swim up. I just started to swim up. I started to swim up. I started to swim up. And as I was swimming, it was getting harder to swim. Like there was more and more resistance. It was as if I was going from water to sand to molasses uh, to concrete. Like it just got so hard to use my arms. And when I finally got to the surface, I pulled myself onto the ice and I saw the sun was coming up, super excited. And then this feeling of defeat and loneliness crept up my spine because even though I had swam all that way, I was stuck alone on ice. And then in my defeat, I looked off to the side. I saw two men in a boat, but the boat was half sunken into the water. And they came over to me and they asked me, do you need help? I said, yes, I need help, clearly. But in the back of my mind, I was wondering, how can they help me if they're drowning themselves? And I remember taking a black notebook and writing down Cassidy's healing or health plan. I can't remember which one. And I remember writing that down and saying, I'm going to get healthy and nothing is going to stop. And it was a decision I made that changed my life absolutely forever. Because from that dream, I learned that I didn't want to die. I wanted to live. I learned that it was going to take all of my strength to get out of the dark hole that I was in. And I also learned that I was asking help from people who are struggling in their lives themselves. And it was time for me to take my health and my life into my own hands. And it brought me down the most beautiful journey of healing physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And this holistic health is my most treasured gift. And when we think about health, we think about not being sick. We think about running away from illness. We think about, trying to go away from pain, right? And in reality, I found on this journey, there's a health that you can feel every single one of your cells. It's a health that allows you to feel connected to yourself, connected to life, connected to the people around you. It is a health that people start to want to be in your energy, to soak in that vibrancy. It is a health that allows you to have a higher quality of life. It is a health that lets you live out your dreams and passions, because this body is the only body that will bring you to your dreams and to the future that you desire to create for yourself. So the foundation of health is what I learned. And it's what I learned to start teaching to other people, is creating this foundation of health, this higher quality of life, so that when you go after your dreams and your passions and creating those higher achieving thoughts, emotions, and actions, you enjoy it. You soak in it. It's like a part of your growth and your evolution. And it's like your career gets to have health itself. When you have a foundation of health, it is the basis of every single dream and passion that you have, is to be able to take care of your mind, body, and spirit. And I've seen this for myself. I've seen this for my clients. And that is how I've gotten to where I am today.
That's, first of all, that is just such an amazing story for you to share with all of us. And I am I'm sorry that you had to go through all of that in order to come out on this other side, in order to share these gifts with everyone now.
Mhm.
Um, Something that was kind of coming up for me there was, for everyone else who is like, well, Nicole, I'm not experiencing the to the extent that Cassidy has. I'm not over here, you know, contemplating my own death. I'm not having these
Mhm.
severe health problems. But there's something still off. There's something that's still not feeling quite right, or maybe something has been happening for so long that now you've just said that this is normal. This is how people feel. This is just what life is. And I feel like I think that almost prevents us from seeking help and seeking support, because we're
Mhm.
like, oh, well, I'm not rock bottom. I haven't hit rock bottom. Let's not wait for rock bottom for so long. Right? Like, I think that's like I think particularly as women, and I'm guilty of this myself. Well, I don't have it as bad as someone else, or my childhood wasn't
Mhm.
all that bad, or my experience in the workplace wasn't as bad as this. At least I wasn't sexually harassed, or whatever, whatever. And I
Yep.
think sometimes we can diminish our experience because, we hear of other people's experiences that are
Yep.
quote unquote worse than ours. And it's not, obviously not to diminish that, but it's also like, don't diminish your own experience that you're having.
Not at all.
So I'd love to hear from you. Like, after you came out on the other side of this experience, how did you crawl back, or get to a place where you are living this healthy, vibrant life? What did you
Yeah.
have to do to get this?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first I wanted to touch on the point that you're saying is it prevents people from, oh, well, I'm not ill. I'm not in pain, right?
Yeah.
It's coming again from that mentality of health being not sick.
Mhm.
But that is not health. That is not true wellness. Wellness is that feeling of being connected to yourself, where you truly, like, there's a higher level of quality of life available to you, no matter if you're in pain or not.
Mhm.
There's always levels of life to uncover, to soak into, to feel. If you're feeling a calling, it's not about running away from pain, but rather towards a desire to live at the highest vibrational level, to live at the highest quality of life. And when you allow yourself to feel into that desire, then you get to experience that not only for yourself, but you get to spread that to the other people around you.
Mhm.
It's like you change the entire environment you're in by being in this state. And the reason I went through all of this is so that I can teach it, and so you don't have to go through it.
Right.
My body was giving me multiple signs before the health crisis. This was years and years and years of buildup. It told me again and again, I need help. Very small, very, very
Mm.
small for a long time. And if there's any of you who are listening and who are like, you know what, there's just something slightly saying, my body's slightly saying something's off, or my spirit's just slightly saying something's off, or my mind feels slightly off. Those are the signs before these crashes come. You don't have to go through the crash. I went through the crash so I can show you. So you don't have to go through the crash. This is the point of why I went through this, to be able to create that. So for me, creating this health, it actually came from the vibrancy codes. And this is my book, The Vibrancy Codes, A Guide to
Mm.
Vibrant Health and Vitality. It's also my main program that I hold is a year-long program, really about implementing these healthy habits. And for me, it was physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. It's very clear, all of the holistic health. So the vibrancy codes is what I use to be able to become healthy. And this is what I teach to others as well. So in physical health, I go through the 3 Ds: diet. And no, it's not about the fad diets. It's not about keto and all this, even though great, they're great resources, right? However, your body tells you exactly what it wants to eat and exactly what it wants to stay away from. It's not about doing these cycles of diets, of like these smoothie cleanses. A smoothie cleanse is not a diet, it's a detox, actually. But your accumulation of habits around food and how to listen to your body and allow your body to guide you to food choices that are natural and also that are going to fuel your body to create the environment and the tools for your body to thrive. Because again, your body is the only body that will bring you to your dreams and goals. The second D is detox, about how to release those physical toxins and using different things such as saunas, but detox baths or more. I talk about that in both my book and the programs. And dance. We were talking about this before. Dance is how to move your body with joy. If you are going to the gym and you feel like you are, you just can't, like you just feel like you're forcing yourself to, and it feels kind of bad. No, you want to create movement that's joyful so you keep on doing it. And it comes integrated into your everyday lifestyle. It's very effortless. And then in mental healing, I go through the 3 M's. Mind master. This is about reprogramming your mind to have your beliefs towards what you're desiring to create, or even creating towards a desire and devotion to yourself, a mindset of devotion to you. Instead of having the mind chatter that's against yourself. And we know this mind chatter, right? That tells us that we can't do things or whatever that's stopping us, these limiting beliefs. We clear that out. We reprogram our mind and how to do that. And then mind diet. What are you consuming, not just in food, but information, social media, TV, news, environments, relationships? What is your mind diet? And really surveying what that is and creating healthier environments for, again, you to thrive and prosper. And then the third M is mindfulness, using mindfulness such as meditation or creating intentional and conscious choices, and how to create that mindfulness and being present in every single thing that you do, instead of just meditation, but creating a presence in your life. And then in emotional healing, I go through the 3 E's. So the first E is embrace, learning to embrace all of your emotions, because every single one of them is meant to be felt. And if you don't fully feel it, it will get stuck in your body and create chaos and things that you don't want it to create. Then the second E is enrich, using those emotions that you get to enrich your life. Say you're jealous of somebody, right? Here's an example. You're jealous of somebody. You can actually allow that to see, actually, I want to create that for myself. And then go out and put your energy towards creating that for yourself and setting, oh, I want that. I can't have it. No, you can't. Use that emotion. It's fueling you to go towards this direction. So each and every emotion can give us messages. And if we listen to them and we follow them, it can really enrich your life. And evolve is a third E, using evolutionary and transformational practices such as self love, gratitude, and forgiveness. Because when we have this emotional intelligence, when we practice these things daily, weekly, or it's just integrated into who we are, it becomes, again, this higher quality of life that we get to have, because life is not always going to be easy, but we can have the emotional intelligence and safety and having our regulated nervous system throughout it all, so that we get to live it through it fully, right? And then in spiritual, inviting spiritual vibrant health, I go through the 3 S's. Safety, having this foundation of unshakable faith in yourself, in your life, and in your higher power, whatever that may be. And when you have this foundation of faith and strength, there's something that you become unstoppable. You become unstoppable when you trust, when you have this deep faith and trust. And then the second S is surrender, learning to let go of control to gain control. Like this part was so important to the whole journey because when I learned to surrender, I found these new bliss states to actually connect to and be in. When you radically accept the moment for what it is, you have so much more power to change it. It's this beautiful balance and dichotomy that you actually get to change the outcome when you surrender to it fully. It's
Mm.
such a beautiful way for us to continue to work into our spiritual nature. And the third S is serenity, using energy healing modalities such as Reiki, chakra healings, or even just connecting to your energy body. And again, connecting to deeper level forms of yourself. So, as you can see in each of these codes, it's about creating a relationship with your mind, your body, your spirit. You create a relationship with absolutely everything in your life. It's not just the people, it's everything. And it's creating the healthy environment and a healthy foundation for you to thrive and prosper. That is the foundation of the vibrancy codes.
Wow. I love all of that. And I love just the structure that you just described because I think it's really simple and easy for us to
Hmm.
remember and to understand.
Absolutely.
So many things in there. I was hearing like clients in my ears, talking about, well, I don't want to be frustrated or I don't want to feel this way. And it's like, well, it's not about not feeling all your emotions or trying to avoid certain
Hmm.
emotions. We talk about that a lot. I love the part about surrender. Can you talk more about the surrendering? Because for us women who are, again, super driven, super, achievement
Mm.
oriented, that we want to control everything. And what I find is that we often try to control things that we can't control. And then we think we can't
Yeah.
control the things that we actually can, which I find funny. But like this idea of just surrendering,
Mm.
I think is really interesting. So can you tell me more about like for someone out there who's just like, I'm struggling to let go. Talk to us about ways that we can start to slowly start letting go and letting go of
Yeah,
control over the things that we definitely don't have control over.
absolutely. So this is actually so funny because this has been a main theme this week with my clients. The surrender piece has been really apparent. And with surrender comes self-trust. So
Mhm.
the surrender and the safety kind of go hand in hand. You kind of need to have the safety to go into surrender. You need to feel safe in your body and you need to feel and trust in yourself and in your life to be able to surrender to the circumstances that you're in. Because if you have the mindset of the trust, creating, okay, every single thing that's happening is meant to be, or even every single thing happening is for me, creating that mindset shift to this is happening for me.
Mhm.
This it creates this safety that we can create for ourselves. And also there's self-trust. I mean, as disciplined women, we know. I mean, been a higher tier my whole life. I understand this need to continue to control, especially, I was graduated top of my class in neuroscience in undergrad. So I know like taking 25 credits at once, trying, your best to create that control or trying to get to higher levels and within your company or
Mhm.
we want to get to that promotion. We want to get to that next level right here and right now. But when we surrender, we allow space for us to be and to enjoy the journey.
Mhm.
It's about enjoying the journey. The things that we achieve, fantastic, and we should continue to achieve. And we should continue to show, the world what women can do because man, we can achieve a lot. And man, can we achieve at a very high capacity and with love. But the with love part, let's come back to the being. Let's enjoy the journey that we're on. So when you shift your perspective of instead of just creating the outcomes,
Mhm.
how do I enjoy the journey first? Putting ourselves in that. And I know this is something that we hear all the time, but I invite you to even close your eyes and integrate that in, soak it in and take a deep breath and just feel what it would feel like to enjoy the journey. Truly, in this moment, there is no other moment but the now moment right here and right now. enjoying the journey. And if you're noticing that something is not allowing you to enjoy the moment, why? Asking yourself,
Mm.
what am I really afraid of? What am I really afraid of here? This not happening. Okay. And it doesn't. Say the worst, look at the worst possible outcome of whatever you're afraid of and say, okay, I'm going to be okay through that too, if that happens. It's not about being so stuck on a specific outcome. The surrender comes from, I'm going to be okay if A, B, or C happens. I'm going to go for A. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to enjoy every single second of getting to there, but I'm going to let go of whether B or C happens.
Mhm.
And if B or C happens, I'm going to embrace it with the fullness of my heart, which is not easy it's much easier said than done, right? It's not easy to do. But when you enjoy the journey and you let go and you surrender, and you can allow for yourself to have higher, wh- when we bring ourselves back to our being, to our wellness, when we focus back on ourselves, we can enjoy this very moment, not because we did anything, not because we have to do anything. And when you come from that space, so centered, so peaceful, so trusting, you actually have more mind space, more energy to be able to put towards that dream or that goal and letting go of whether it happens or not. And I know that that can be a scary thought to have, but practicing more of that self trust, of enjoying the journey, and of letting go of what the outcome should be. And just look at the absolute worst outcome and just see that you're going to be okay in that outcome too.
Mm. I love that. I think, so I did a whole episode on the idea of enjoying the journey. If we go back to
Oh,
episodes,
yes.
if we go back to episode 6, I talked about this, that like, what's more important than achieving your goals, but enjoying the journey? Because otherwise, if we're always just so concentrated on, like you said, the outcome, sometimes, a lot of times, the outcome we don't control. For instance,
Mm,
like you mentioned, promotion. And so most of my clients,
yeah.
they're coming to me wanting a promotion, or they want to get to that next level in their career. And you can do all of the right things. You can check all the boxes. You can go through my program and do all the things. But at the end of the day, if your company doesn't have budget or doesn't want to promote you for whatever reason, or don't have that role available for you, then you're
Yeah.
not going to get the promotion. And that's completely out of your control. So, like you said, it's not about not setting goals and not trying to achieve and get to the place that you want to get, but we also have to enjoy the process, right? Because
Mm,
otherwise it's not worth it. None of this is worth it if we are feeling like we have to, claw and grind and all of this. Like, that doesn't feel great, because what happens once you do get to that, you do achieve the thing that you want to achieve, you're probably not going to appreciate it or as much as you thought
yeah.
you would, or it's not going to, like, the heavens aren't going to open and be like,
Hmm.
it's all good now. Like, that's not how that works. So I
And
love this whole idea of ensuring that you are surrendering to the process, trusting yourself, trusting the process, and enjoying the journey along the way.
yeah. And one other thing to note is a lot of people think, oh, I don't have time, right?
Yeah.
Like like not being able to surrender is like, oh, I don't have time. I don't have time to take a moment for my own well being. I don't have time to focus on myself because I need to achieve this, right? But in reality, you always have time. Taking 1 minute 5 times a day to center yourself, taking 15 minutes to exercise a day. It's instead of doing this like this thought process of we don't have time, but in reality we do. It's about creating the time.
Yeah.
And 1 minute a day, you could do that. 15 minutes a day, you can absolutely do that. How much time do you spend on social media? How much time do you spend, with a cup of coffee? Or you can always create the time. So I
Mhm.
invite, anyone who's listening, who I understand time feels like it's being robbed from you, especially when you're in these corporate places. And you're over probably working the 40 hours that you
Oh,
have.
yeah.
And then especially if you're a high achiever and you want to get to the next level, you're doing more than those 40 hours. But in reality, you can always create those moments and spaces for yourself. And even while doing these projects, you can be putting your mind at ease, putting attention towards yourself. There is always time to create for your well-being because it actually will create more time for you. Because if you're not burned out and you feeling in this space, this is about doing stuff before burnout.
Right.
This is about creating wellness before the crises. You don't need to go through the crises. Just start to listen to those little moments of, you know what, I need to focus on my well-being, and it needs to be a priority, if not my first priority.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Such an important conversation for all of us to be having and just reflecting on. So I know like we've just barely scratched the surface of all of this, Kathy. So tell us, where can we find more and dive deeper
Yeah.
into the vibrancy codes?
Absolutely. So, The Vibrancy Codes is also a book. The Vibrancy Codes, A Guide to Vibrant Health and Vitality. So, you can purchase that on Amazon. It honestly has been incredible to see the feedback from people who've read it and be like, "Oh my god, this makes sense. I can actually implement these things," and or I feel so loved through reading your book. I love getting like that. Or you can follow me on Instagram, Cassidy Amber Chapman. It's also the same for Facebook or Instagram, Cassidy Amber Chapman. And all the in my link tree is all the different links that you would need. Either it be, you're interested in coaching, you're interested in my book, or you're interested in booking me for a speaking engagement at an event that you're holding. That all the links are in the link tree there. So following me on Instagram is a great way to stay connected. And I'm excited to stay connected with you guys.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. So we will put all of Cassidy's links to her book and to all of her social handles in the show notes out on NicoleCaseSpeaks.com/podcast/19. So again, my mind is just spinning with so many things that I want to continue talking to you about. Maybe we have to have a part two at some point. Um, but thank you so much for coming on today and just and being so open and vulnerable and sharing your story and sharing your
Oh,
vibrancy with all of us here today.
thank you so much. And I want to thank the listeners for taking the time to create this time and space and intention for them to create well-being for themselves. And you know what? You picked this podcast for a reason. And I'm really proud of you for listening to it all the way through.
Awesome. Thanks, Cassidy.
Yeah.